What needs to stop being romanticized? Being overwhelmed and overworked. Murder and serial killers in particular. Bad boys with tragic pasts. I don't care about how horrible their childhood was, it's no free pass for them to be abusive assholes. Edit. Thank you Boy Witch from Sleep No More for my most popular post. I still hate you though. Mental illnesses. Depression. Harley Quinn and the Joker's abusive relationship. Several other celebrated tween book series relationships come to mind as well, but this one is the first one that comes to mind for me for many reasons. Cartels. Seriously, Netflix and Hulu, El Chapo is a mass murderer. Bonnie and Clyde. Those fuckers killed my great-grandfather as he was running a cash bag to the bank. My great-grandmother had died earlier in the year in Minnesota. They had to wait for the ground to thaw and buried them together. My grandfather was orphaned because of them, and people make movies and tell stories like they are something to be admired. Fuck them. Pop culture that depicts a woman changing a man drastically through the power of love. Men aren't fixer-uppers to be bought with a plan in mind to shape them. It's both disrespectful to the man and delusional on the woman's part, and it sets unrealistic expectations that often don't end well. Gangsters. This applies to both romanticization of Prohibition-era gangsters in movies and to the romanticization of gangsters in rap music. With that being said, the Godfather series is still a masterpiece. As my friend just signed up to the army expecting something movie-like. I'd say war. Suicide. It kind of surprised me when I realized that most of the people who romanticize it are mentally ill and suicidal themselves. I'm guilty myself, but that's when it made sense to me. Mentally ill people see it as the solution to all their problems, like eternal elation for them. In my experience, it's only when you feel like you're actually physically close to death and have no choice but to face it imminently, e.g. if you voted and don't think you'll make it, that reality sets in to fill you with regret, and it's awful. Introversion. I'm more on the introvert's side than the extrovert's side, and it doesn't make me special. It doesn't make me any smarter than an extrovert or superior in any way. We aren't even all that different, it's just people really love to categorize things. I got okay at pretending, but I get tired more quickly when I do. That's all there is to it. It's not good. Stalking. Getting drunk. Practically being a slave to your so. One person shouldn't have to do every little thing just for the satisfaction of their partner. Eating disorders. Infidelity, love triangles and mind-fucking games. On both sides. The good old days. But hey. You paid £900 for your 5-bed house, and your kids spent their weekends riding their bikes instead of playing Xbox, so that's great I guess. Always being in a romantic relationship. You don't need someone to complete you. You're already a complete person and deserve to find love when the time is right, not just latching on to anyone and everyone who shows a shred of affection. People getting their medical bills getting paid for with crowdfunding is some sort of amazing proof of human kindness and presented as a feel-good story in the US. For every one of those stories there are dozens of people who just languish. This shouldn't happen in the greatest country in the world. We in the US should be better than that, and we easily could be. I don't fault the winners at all, I am extremely thankful that they get helped, but the conditions for it to happen shouldn't exist in the first place. Surprise proposals. Two people should be on the same page about where a relationship is going, and the person proposing shouldn't be nervous about getting a yes from their partner. Drugs. Self-harm. Abuse, mental illnesses, etc. Basically, anything serious you could think of needs to stop being romanticized. It's stupid. Being ill, physically or mentally. Looking at social media these days you'd think it was aspirational. Poverty. That shit sucks. Suicidal tendencies. Cheating. Samurais. Dudes were complete assholes. Killed people just for looking at them, or no reason at all. Serial killers. I don't get how people can find them attractive. As an Irish person, People getting absolutely shit-faced on St. Patrick's Day. By all means have a good time and have a few drinks, but there's no need to drink so much that you turn a great day out into a fucking nightmare for everyone including yourself. Lying on the street at 9 p.m. covered in your own vomit isn't romantic at all. Vampires. Work culture in the US. This might sound weird, but sex. Yeah, it's great, but the huge emphasis society places on it as a status symbol, a life-changing act of the gods, and the only true way to prove how much you love someone is pretty weird and fucked up. Not to mention it leads to the creation of people like incels who convince themselves that not having this almighty luxury of the bone zone is at the same level of a war crime due to how exaggerated its importance is. Netflix, I just want to watch Stranger Things and chill. But no, everyone else on this damn earth likes to fuck while watching a damn movie. Hear me out, but star-crossed relationships. We always read books and watch movies of people who are made for each other, but due to extenuating circumstances are unable to be together. Usually in those cases they tend to use this divide as catalyst for really strong, almost obsessive feelings, even though remaining together would cause you pain. Then they either get together or both of them die. I was in my own star-crossed romance where I was of low birth and really didn't have anything to my name, and I was seeing someone who was foreign and in their own home country had titles, money and political power due to the family they were born into. We both wanted each other badly, but we basically lived in two completely different worlds beyond our college, and both sides of the family would hate the other. We tried to make it work, and we dealt with a lot of shit. I always had this fantasy in my mind that we were these two lovers against the world and we would fight to make things work in the end, love can conquer all kind of thing. But we remained pretty secret about it, gotta love a secret romance, and all the sneaking around and being so obsessively down low began to get to us. We argued a lot and we began to drift further and further apart until there wasn't really anything left the sex. We began to resent each other, and after so many lies to cover our tracks and excuses, we finally had enough and ended things. I always blamed myself afterwards, that if I was born of higher rank or in the country they're from that maybe things would have worked out and we would be together. I was the one who messed it up, and I was the one who was of no substantial value, and I didn't deserve him. It wasn't until much later that I realized that it wasn't myself and just stuff that was beyond my control. But it still hurts even if I acknowledge it. I'm not saying that star-crossed lovers can't ever work out. But when there are a lot of barriers that you and your partner have to deal with, you are gonna be dealing with a lot of shit, and that can wear you down after some time. You have to accept things that you don't want, have to deal with comments and insults, possibly risk disownment, etc. And even though you may love this person a lot, it's maybe asking too much of them. Review. Love requires sacrifice, but the one thing that you should never sacrifice is your peace of mind and happiness. Star-crossed romances are indeed beautiful and passionate, but it doesn't always end with you two defying the odds and riding off into the sunset, and the wounds they can leave can stay with you. Sorry if I have repeated any. Mental illness, specifically BPD. As someone with BPD, it isn't cute or a quirk. Drug abuse, prescription medication. Cigarettes. Being able to eat a ton of junk food and not gain weight. Being able to drive good while under the influence. Mentally ill characters such as BoJack Horseman, Lisa Rowe, Girl, Interrupted, Rick and Morty, etc. Self-harm. Serving time in prison. Murderers. Stereotypical club life such as Molly, excess drinking, blackout hookups, etc. Suicide and suicidal ideation. The Columbine shooters. School shootings in general actually. Fucking memetards. Being poor. Abuse. Mental illnesses. Relationships in general. The media is shoving it in our faces, and I feel like so many girls especially feel the need to be attached to a boy at all times. Sometimes the best thing for someone is to be single and independent so you can find out who you are as an individual. Wine moms. It's this weirdly commercialized version of alcoholism. Working yourself to death. The Amish culture. Seriously. It's nothing but a glorified cult. Also is the perfect breeding ground for all kinds of abuse, particularly sexual abuse, because it is all covered up and no one talks about it. Also lots and lots of incest. The idea that it's okay to steal someone's romantic partner in a grand gesture, and it's okay because you love them more than their partner does. Every freaking rom-com does this and I hate it, but audiences eat that shit up. Complete with huge scene of some dude or lady interrupting a major moment in the couple's life like their wedding or announcing their engagement to declare they love the person and have since they were teens, but never had the guts to say it. So would you insert cliché rom-com character name here, please leave this person you are already committed to and come take a chance on me, a person you've never dated and don't romantically know. I always root for the alleged bitch bride-to-be or groom when they punch the asshole who interrupted the wedding in the face for doing that. Good. If you have feelings for a person, you should have told them years ago and tried working it out, not waiting for years to pass then jumping in when they are with another person now. Honestly, gangsters. Of all types. I mean, I like watching mafia movies, but geez, they glorify these guys. Okay, the mafia had their code of honor, and some were more honorable than others, sure. But these movies leave out all the real bad stuff that people can't excuse as easily as they can excuse infidelity or murder. But the thing is, the mafia was a business, they were for profit. So code of honor or not, if it was profitable to keep someone around, that's what they'd do. Some of those guys were rapists, child murderers, even pedophiles. Little kids were killed by accident, families were murdered intentionally, some of those guys would rape someone's daughter or wife as retaliation. That's a fact. But they just don't bring it up in the movies, and it's so romanticized that they have gangster costumes for babies. Now gangbangers, like the Crips Bloods kind of gangsters, makes even less sense to me why they're so romanticized. Rappers and people don't even try to hide what they do or how they are. So basically selling crack, stealing cars, jumping people, and doing drive-bys is cool? I don't get it. But yeah, that shouldn't be romanticized either. Oh, I wish I had an eye condition so I could wear glasses. I have keratoconus, to put it simply. I have to wear rigid contact lenses every day, and glasses are not an option. Having to stick a glass-like material in your eye every day for the whole day isn't the most comfortable thing ever. Tumblr's depression aesthetic is annoying as hell. Guy follows girl around, doesn't take no for an answer, does nice thing for girl, automatically gets girl.